Welcome to the world of Hercule Poirot, where logic and order always triumph over chaos and crime. In this series, we're diving into only the short stories that feature Agatha Christie's beloved detective, tracing his journey through 27 cases that span a wide range of mysteries, everything from domestic intrigues to international thefts. Unlike his famous novel-length investigations, these short stories allow us to see Poirot at his sharpest, solving cases that unfold quickly, but leave a lasting impact. As we follow Poirot's journey, we'll see him tackle high society crimes, unsolved disappearances, blackmail, and even espionage. The short stories reveal his brilliance in different settings, whether it's in a grand manor, a bustling train station, or even aboard a luxurious ocean liner. We'll explore how his methods evolve, how his personality shines through, and how even the smallest clue can unravel the biggest mysteries. So, if you're a fan of Poirot's impeccable logic, join us as we revisit these iconic short stories and piece together the journey of one of the greatest detectives in literary history. Let's begin with The Affair at the Victory Ball, a case that sets the stage for the legendary career of Hercule Poirot. Plot summary: The Affair at the Victory Ball. In The Affair at the Victory Ball, Hercule Poirot is called upon to solve the mysterious death of Lord Cronshaw, who is found murdered at a lavish masquerade ball. The event, themed after characters from Commedia dell'arte, had the attendees dressed in elaborate costumes, with Lord Cronshaw himself appearing as Harlequin. To make matters even more suspicious, his fiancée, Coco Courtenay, dressed as Columbine, dies of a drug overdose on the same night. Poirot's keen observation uncovers crucial details, including the strained relationship between Lord Cronshaw and Coco, as well as the odd behaviour of the party guests. After examining a clue involving a broken piece of a harlequin's costume and analysing the interactions at the ball, Poirot deduces that the deaths were not coincidental. He reveals that one of the attendees had a deep personal vendetta and orchestrated both deaths in a calculated scheme. Using his signature method of combining psychology with sharp observation, Poirot uncovers the killer and brings justice to the seemingly glamorous but tragic affair. This short story showcases Poirot's ability to see beyond appearances and reveals the dark motives hidden beneath the surface of high society events. Plot summary: The Adventure of the Western Star. In The Adventure of the Western Star, Hercule Poirot is approached by the glamorous actress Mary Marvel, who fears that her precious diamond, the Western Star, is going to be stolen. She claims to have received threatening letters warning her that the gem must be returned to its rightful owner, a mysterious figure in China. Her diamond has a twin, the Eastern Star, owned by Lady Yardley, who soon reports receiving similar threats. Poirot investigates the two diamonds and the background of the letters, uncovering a deep connection between the jewels and a former plot summary: The Adventure of the Cheap Flat. In The Adventure of the Cheap Flat, Hercule Poirot's curiosity is piqued when his friend Hastings recounts how a couple managed to secure an unusually inexpensive flat in a desirable London neighbourhood. Poirot, suspecting there's more to this story, begins investigating the couple and their new residence. His suspicions grow when it's revealed that a series of crimes, including the theft of top-secret American naval plans, may be connected to the flat. Poirot soon uncovers that the flat was no random find. It was part of a larger plot involving espionage. His investigation leads him to an international conspiracy with spies hiding in plain sight. The mystery deepens as Poirot examines the tenants and their seemingly ordinary lives, discovering that the stolen plans are tied to the secret activities happening within the building. With his astute mind and sharp observation, Poirot pieces together the clues, unmasking a foreign agent responsible for the theft. His ability to see through the facade of normalcy and identify a grand scheme at play leads to the recovery of the stolen plans and the apprehension of the criminals. This case demonstrates Poirot's skill in unravelling seemingly simple situations that conceal international intrigue. showing how even the most mundane events can hide criminal intentions. Plot summary: The Adventure of the Egyptian Tomb. In The Adventure of the Egyptian Tomb, Hercule Poirot is called in to investigate a series of mysterious deaths surrounding the excavation of an ancient Egyptian tomb. Sir John Willard, the archaeologist who discovered the tomb, dies suddenly, followed by the expedition's financier, Mr. Bleibner. Rumours of an ancient curse begin to swirl as more deaths occur, sparking fear among those connected to the excavation. Poirot, however, is not one to believe in curses. He travels to Egypt to examine the case firsthand, accompanied by his ever-faithful companion, Hastings. As Poirot delves deeper, he uncovers that the deaths have logical, earthly explanations. His investigation reveals a web of greed, betrayal, and revenge, where the so-called curse is merely a smokescreen for murder. Through his keen intellect and methodical approach, Poirot identifies the real culprit, exposing a plot designed to eliminate those with a financial stake in the tomb's discoveries. The case is solved when Poirot proves that the series of deaths was orchestrated by someone close to the victims, using fear of the curse as a cover for their true intentions. This story emphasizes Poirot's belief in logic over superstition, showing how his steady reasoning dismantles even the most terrifying of myths. Plot summary: The Adventure of the Italian Nobleman. In The Adventure of the Italian Nobleman, Hercule Poirot is called upon to solve the murder of Count Foscatini, an Italian nobleman living in London. Poirot's attention is drawn to the case after his neighbour, Dr. Hawker, is summoned by telephone to the Count's apartment, only to find him dead, bludgeoned with a marble statue. The nobleman had entertained 2 guests for dinner that evening, and suspicion naturally falls on them. Poirot's investigation focuses on the dinner arrangements, as he questions the housekeeper and examines the remnants of the meal. He soon realises that things are not as they appear. While the crime scene suggests a straightforward murder by the guests, Poirot's sharp attention to detail uncovers inconsistencies in the timeline and in the behaviour of those involved. With his trademark logical deductions, Poirot reveals that the crime was a well-planned deception. The murder had been orchestrated by Foscatini himself, who was not a nobleman at all, but a criminal involved in blackmail and fraud. His death was part of a double cross by his criminal associates, who ensured that his past deeds caught up with him. This story showcases Poirot's ability to see through elaborate facades, unravelling layers of deceit and misdirection to expose the true motives behind the crime. Plot summary: The Case of the Missing Will. In The Case of the Missing Will, Hercule Poirot is hired by Violet Marsh, a young woman whose wealthy uncle, Andrew Marsh, has recently died under suspicious circumstances. Andrew had promised to change his will in Violet's favour, but after his death, the original will, which leaves everything to charity, is the only one found. Violet is convinced that her uncle must have left a second, more recent will, but it seems to have vanished. Poirot, intrigued by the challenge, takes on the case and begins investigating Andrew's final days. He delves into the relationships between the family and household staff, suspecting that someone might have hidden or destroyed the will for their own benefit. Poirot's keen observation of small details leads him to a clever solution. The missing will had never left the house. Poirot discovers that Andrew Marsh, impressed by Violet's intelligence and independence, had concealed the new will in an unconventional location, designed as a test of her ingenuity. By carefully examining the clues, Poirot retrieves the hidden document, securing Violet's inheritance and proving her uncle's faith in her abilities. This short story demonstrates Poirot's ability to not only solve crimes, but also to respect the wishes of the deceased, all while outwitting those who try to manipulate a situation for personal gain. Plot summary: The Submarine Plans. In The Submarine Plans, Hercule Poirot is tasked with recovering top-secret military documents that have been stolen from a government official's home. The plans detail a highly classified submarine project, and their theft poses a serious threat to national security. The theft occurs during a dinner party at the home of Lord Holloway, where several prominent guests were present. Poirot is called in to discreetly investigate the case, and he quickly determines that the theft must have been an inside job. With his typical precision, Poirot interviews the guests and scrutinizes their actions on the night of the crime. His attention to small details, such as a woman's broken shoe strap and a missing button, proves crucial in solving the case. Through methodical deduction, Poirot uncovers that the theft was not politically motivated, but a matter of personal revenge. One of the guests, a foreign spy, orchestrated the theft to settle an old score. Poirot cleverly exposes the spy's plot and manages to recover the stolen submarine plans before they can be handed over to an enemy nation. This short story highlights Poirot's skills in dealing with high-stakes cases of espionage, showcasing his ability to navigate delicate political situations while still using his characteristic powers of observation and deduction. Plot summary: The Adventure of the Clapham Cook. In The Adventure of the Clapham Cook, Hercule Poirot is approached by Mrs. Todd, an indignant woman who insists that Poirot investigate the sudden disappearance of her cook, Eliza Dunn. Though Poirot initially sees the case as trivial compared to his usual work, he accepts the challenge out of curiosity. As Poirot digs deeper, he discovers that the cook's disappearance is connected to a larger mystery involving the theft of a valuable banker's bond. What seemed like a simple case of a domestic worker gone missing becomes an intricate puzzle when Poirot uncovers links between the cook's whereabouts and a bank official's untimely death. Through a series of interviews and close examination of minor details, Poirot realizes that the disappearance was orchestrated as a diversion for a much more significant crime. The cook had unknowingly been used to shield the true culprits, those involved in financial fraud and murder. By cleverly reconstructing the timeline and motives of those involved, Poirot solves the case, leading to the arrest of the masterminds behind the bond theft. This story exemplifies how even the smallest, most ordinary cases can have deep and unexpected layers when examined by Poirot's brilliant mind. Plot summary: The Cornish Mystery. In The Cornish Mystery, Hercule Poirot is called to the quiet countryside by Mrs. Pengelly, a woman who suspects that her husband, a local dentist, is poisoning her. She explains that her health has been deteriorating, and she fears her husband's affair with a younger woman may have motivated him to get rid of her. Poirot agrees to investigate, but before he can act, Mrs. Pengelly is found dead. Poirot travels to Cornwall, where he begins to investigate the circumstances surrounding her death. Despite Mrs. Pengelly's fears, Poirot is not convinced that her husband is the culprit. As he interviews the key figures in the case, including the husband and his alleged lover, Poirot's suspicions shift, and he begins to focus on less obvious suspects. Using his signature method of dissecting human behavior and relationships, Poirot uncovers the true killer, someone much closer to Mrs. Pengelly than she had ever realized. The poisoning, as it turns out, was motivated by greed rather than romance, and Poirot's astute observations lead to the arrest of the true culprit. This case highlights Poirot's ability to see through assumptions and dig deep into human motivations, revealing the complex dynamics that often hide behind seemingly simple relationships. Plot summary: The Adventure of the Western Star. In The Adventure of the Western Star, Poirot is drawn into a case revolving around two identical diamonds, the Western Star and the Eastern Star. When film star Mary Marvel receives threatening letters warning her that the Western Star diamond will be stolen, she seeks Poirot's help. The diamond, said to have an ancient curse, has a twin possessed by Lady Yardley, who soon receives a similar threat. Poirot investigates the matter, delving into the diamond's history and the backgrounds of both women. His inquiry uncovers a surprising connection between the jewels and a past love triangle involving Mary, her husband, and Lord Yardley. The mystery deepens when Lady Yardley's diamond is indeed stolen, leading to heightened suspicion around all involved parties. Poirot's sharp reasoning soon uncovers the truth. The entire affair was an elaborate hoax designed to manipulate public perception and cover up personal failings. Both diamonds were never truly under threat. Rather, the theft was part of a publicity stunt gone wrong, orchestrated to protect reputations. Poirot exposes the plot, revealing the lengths to which people will go to conceal their personal lives, all while dismantling the myth of the diamond's curse with cold, logical precision. This case highlights Poirot's ability to see beyond superstition and human vanity to uncover the truth. Plot summary. The double clue. In the double clue, Hercule Poirot is asked to solve the theft of several valuable jewels from a wealthy collector, Mr. Hardman, during a gathering at his house. The suspects are limited to a small group of guests, and Poirot is intrigued by the two main clues left behind, a glove and a Russian cigarette case. As Poirot investigates the guests, he becomes particularly interested in a beautiful Russian countess, Vera Rosikoff, who catches his attention not only as a suspect, but also for her charm and mysterious past. The clues seem to point directly to her, but Poirot hesitates, sensing that there's more to the case than meets the eye. Poirot's sharp mind soon uncovers a surprising twist. The Countess is indeed involved in the crime, but she is not acting alone. The theft was orchestrated with the help of an accomplice, and the double clue was cleverly planted to mislead investigators. Poirot, struck by his admiration for Vera's cleverness, allows her to escape without facing the consequences, marking one of the few times Poirot allows personal feelings to affect his judgment. This short story introduces a rare glimpse of Poirot's more human side, showcasing how even the great detective is not immune to the charms of a worthy adversary. Plot summary. The Adventure of the King of Clubs. In The Adventure of the King of Clubs, Hercule Poirot is called in by film producer Mr. Rolfe to investigate a murder involving a famous actress, Valerie St. Clair. The victim is Henry Reedburn, a wealthy and powerful man found dead in his home under mysterious circumstances. Valerie, who had been seen fleeing the scene, becomes the prime suspect, but she claims to have witnessed the crime rather than committed it. Poirot investigates the murder, focusing on the relationships between the people involved and the timeline of the evening. As he pieces together the puzzle, he discovers a playing card, the King of Clubs, at the scene, which holds the key to solving the mystery. Poirot's attention to detail and his understanding of human nature lead him to a startling conclusion. The crime was not the result of a lover's quarrel, as initially suspected, but an act of blackmail and manipulation. Through careful deductions, Poirot uncovers the true culprit, revealing a complex web of deception that involves not only the victim, but several other figures in the entertainment world. His sharp reasoning exposes the mastermind behind the scheme and clears Valerie's name. This case showcases Poirot's ability to look beyond surface-level motives and uncover hidden truths, all while navigating the glamorous yet treacherous world of show business. Plot summary. The Le Mesurier inheritance. In the Le Mesurier inheritance, Hercule Poirot is asked to investigate a strange family curse that has plagued the Le Mesurier family for generations. According to the curse, the eldest sons of the family are doomed to die young, never inheriting the title or fortune. When a series of near-fatal accidents befall the current heir, young Ronald Le Mesurier, his father becomes increasingly anxious and turns to Poirot for help. Poirot investigates the history of the curse, interviewing family members and examining the supposed accidents. As he delves deeper, he realizes that the incidents are no accidents at all, but a deliberate attempt to eliminate Ronald and ensure the curse comes true. Poirot's attention to detail and psychological insights lead him to the conclusion that someone within the family is orchestrating the accidents to claim the inheritance for themselves. In a final confrontation, Poirot reveals the would-be murderer, a distant relative with a strong motive to perpetuate the family curse. By exposing the true nature of the plot, Poirot puts an end to the accidents and lifts the dark cloud of superstition that has haunted the Le Mesurier for centuries. This story highlights Poirot's belief in logic over superstition, as he dismantles a centuries-old curse with nothing more than sharp reasoning and an understanding of human greed. Plot summary. The chocolate box. In the chocolate box, Hercule Poirot reflects on one of his rare failures during his time as a police officer in Belgium. The case involves the mysterious death of Paul de Roulard, a prominent politician who died suddenly after consuming chocolates from a box. Poirot is asked to investigate, and suspicions quickly fall on several individuals close to de Roulard, including his maid and his political rivals. As Poirot delves into the case, he uncovers that de Roulard's chocolates were laced with poison, but the true culprit remains elusive. The box of chocolates delivered to the politician's house becomes the central clue in Poirot's investigation. Each suspect has a motive, whether political, personal, or financial, and Poirot must sift through layers of deception. Despite his sharp instincts and attention to detail, Poirot ultimately makes a rare misjudgment in this case, as he fails to identify the true criminal. The murderer's identity and motives are later revealed in a twist that takes Poirot by surprise, making this case one of the few that haunts him. This story offers a glimpse into Poirot's human side, showing that even the greatest detectives are capable of failure. It serves as a reminder that no one is infallible, not even Hercule Poirot, who is typically known for his impeccable success rate. Plot summary: The mystery of the Spanish chest. In The Mystery of the Spanish Chest, Hercule Poirot is approached by his friend, Captain Hastings, who seeks his help in solving a perplexing case involving the suspicious death of a woman named Mrs. Burton Cox. The woman's body is found inside a Spanish chest in her home, and the circumstances surrounding her death are deeply mysterious. Poirot's investigation begins with the chest itself, which becomes a focal point of the mystery. He discovers that the chest had been locked, and the circumstances of how the victim ended up inside it are puzzling. Several suspects emerge, including the husband, who claims to have been elsewhere at the time of the murder, and a mysterious young woman who had a connection to the deceased. As Poirot interviews the suspects and gathers evidence, he begins to uncover a web of lies, jealousy, and betrayal. His keen observational skills and understanding of human nature lead him to a breakthrough. The real story involves a hidden past and a motive rooted in a love affair gone wrong. In a dramatic conclusion, Poirot reveals the true sequence of events that led to Mrs. Burton Cox's demise and the identity of the murderer, showcasing his trademark deductive reasoning. This case emphasizes Poirot's ability to untangle even the most complex and emotionally charged situations, revealing the darker sides of human relationships while maintaining his characteristic flair for drama and resolution. Plot summary: The Case of the Caretaker. In The Case of the Caretaker, Hercule Poirot is called to a small estate owned by the late Sir George, where his estranged son, the new heir, is found dead. The circumstances are suspicious, as the son's body is discovered in a locked room, with no apparent means for the murderer to have escaped. The case becomes even more complicated when it is revealed that a caretaker who had recently been dismissed had a contentious relationship with the deceased. As Poirot investigates, he interviews the staff and the family members, all of whom had varying degrees of motive for wanting the son dead. Each character presents a different piece of the puzzle, but the true story remains elusive. Poirot meticulously examines the crime scene, looking for the slightest clue that might lead him to the truth. Using his trademark methods of observation and deduction, Poirot begins to see through the facade of alibis and emotions. He realizes that the key to solving the case lies not only in the evidence, but in understanding the intricate family dynamics and the tensions that had built up over the years. In a dramatic climax, Poirot exposes the true murderer, revealing how long-held grudges and jealousy culminated in a tragic act of violence. This story showcases Poirot's brilliance in navigating the complexities of human relationships while bringing justice to a case shrouded in mystery. Plot summary: The Mystery of the Blood-Stained Pavement. In The Mystery of the Blood-Stained Pavement, Hercule Poirot is called to investigate a perplexing case involving the murder of a young woman named Gladys, who is found dead on a quiet street in London. The only clue left behind is a bloodstain on the pavement, which raises questions about the circumstances of her death and the possible motives of those around her. As Poirot begins his investigation, he learns that Gladys was involved in a tumultuous relationship with a man named Harold, who becomes the prime suspect. However, as Poirot digs deeper, he discovers that there are several other individuals who had reasons to want Gladys dead, including jealous acquaintances and family members harbouring secrets. Through careful interviews and examination of the evidence, Poirot identifies discrepancies in the accounts of the witnesses. His attention to detail uncovers a web of deceit and hidden motives, revealing that the true story is far more complicated than it initially appeared. The blood-stained pavement serves as a metaphor for the lies that have stained the lives of those involved. In a thrilling resolution, Poirot pieces together the clues to expose the real murderer, demonstrating once again his unparalleled deductive reasoning and understanding of human nature. This story highlights the complexities of relationships and the lengths to which individuals will go when driven by passion and jealousy, all leading to a shocking conclusion that leaves the reader contemplating the darker sides of human behaviour. Plot summary: The Regatta Mystery. In The Regatta Mystery, Hercule Poirot is invited to a charming seaside town to witness a local regatta. However, the festive atmosphere is shattered when a renowned yachtsman, Sir Montague, is found dead on his boat just before the race. The circumstances surrounding his death raise suspicions of foul play, and Poirot is drawn into the investigation. As Poirot examines the scene, he discovers that Sir Montague had many rivals, both in the world of sailing and in his personal life. Several suspects emerge, including fellow competitors, crew members, and family members, each with their own reasons for wanting Sir Montague out of the picture. The case takes a twist when a missing trophy, which had significant value to Sir Montague, becomes another focal point. Through meticulous questioning and keen observations, Poirot uncovers a series of interconnected motives that reveal the cutthroat nature of competitive sailing. The investigation leads Poirot to a deeper understanding of the human spirit, ambition, and the lengths people will go to in pursuit of glory. In the climactic resolution, Poirot pieces together the clues and identifies the murderer, exposing the tangled web of jealousy and rivalry that led to Sir Montague's demise. This case not only showcases Poirot's brilliant deductive skills, but also reflects the sometimes dark and competitive nature of sportsmanship, revealing that beneath the surface of camaraderie, ambition can often breed betrayal. Plot summary: The Case of the Missing Will. In The Case of the Missing Will, Hercule Poirot is approached by the determined and sharp-witted Miss Violette Marsh, who seeks his help regarding the unusual circumstances surrounding her late Uncle Andrew Marsh's will. Andrew, a wealthy but eccentric man, had always held a deep conviction that intelligence and ingenuity should be rewarded, and he often engaged in elaborate games of wit. After his death, Violet discovers that the will, which she is certain exists, is nowhere to be found. Instead, Andrew has left a cryptic message suggesting that she must solve a riddle he created to access her inheritance. The will, he implied, could be hidden in plain sight, concealed within a series of clues and challenges that reflect his love for puzzles. Poirot, intrigued by the challenge, joins Violet in her quest to uncover the truth. As they delve into Andrew's life and personality, they encounter a cast of characters who offer various insights and potential motives. The investigation reveals Andrew's complicated relationships with family members and friends, each of whom had their own reasons for wanting Violet to fail in her quest. Through Poirot's sharp reasoning and meticulous attention to detail, he guides Violet through the labyrinth of clues left by her uncle. As they work together, Poirot unveils the deeper significance of Andrew's riddle and the moral lesson behind it. In a satisfying conclusion, Poirot deciphers the final clue, leading to the discovery of the missing will. The outcome not only secures Violet's inheritance, but also emphasises her own intellect and determination. This story showcases Poirot's love for intellectual challenges and the importance of wit in navigating life's complexities, making it a delightful exploration of human ingenuity and familial bonds. Plot summary: The Veiled Lady. In The Veiled Lady, Hercule Poirot is approached by the enigmatic Mrs. Burton Cox, who seeks his help in a delicate matter involving her identity and reputation. Mrs. Burton Cox, a wealthy and influential woman, arrives at Poirot's office wearing a veil, obscuring her face and adding an air of mystery to her character. She explains that she is being blackmailed by an unknown individual who threatens to reveal secrets about her past, which could destroy her social standing. Intrigued by the case, Poirot agrees to take on the challenge. As he delves into Mrs. Burton Cox's background, he uncovers a complex web of relationships, rivalries, and hidden truths. The investigation leads him to several suspects, each with their own potential motives for wanting to tarnish her reputation. Poirot employs his usual methods of deduction, meticulously analysing the evidence and interviewing those close to Mrs. Burton Cox. As he peels back the layers of her life, he learns that the truth is more complicated than it appears. The identity of the blackmailer remains elusive, leading Poirot to consider that the threat may be coming from someone much closer than initially thought. In a gripping finale, Poirot reveals the identity of the blackmailer and the motive behind their actions. The resolution not only clears Mrs. Burton Cox's name, but also exposes the intricate dynamics of her social circle, highlighting themes of trust, betrayal, and the consequences of hidden pasts. This story underscores Poirot's ability to navigate the complexities of human relationships while revealing the deeper truths that often lie beneath the surface, demonstrating that appearances can be deceiving and that the quest for identity and integrity is an ongoing journey. Plot summary: The Greenhouse Mystery. In The Greenhouse Mystery, Hercule Poirot is called to investigate a curious case involving the murder of a wealthy botanist, Sir Arthur, found dead in his elaborate greenhouse. The scene is filled with exotic plants and flowers, but the beauty of the setting is marred by the discovery of the body, which raises immediate questions about the circumstances of his death. As Poirot begins his investigation, he learns that Sir Arthur had many acquaintances in the botany world, including competitors and colleagues who harboured envy towards his successes. Several suspects emerge, each with their own motives for wanting the esteemed botanist dead. Among them are Sir Arthur's assistant, who had ambitions of his own, and a rival botanist who had publicly clashed with him over a prestigious award. The greenhouse itself becomes a pivotal element in the case, with Poirot meticulously analysing the various plants and their properties. His attention to detail reveals that the murder weapon is not a conventional one. Rather, it is a rare and deadly plant that had been used to poison Sir Arthur. As Poirot explores the intricacies of the botanist's relationships, he uncovers secrets that intertwine personal ambition with professional rivalry. With his signature methodical approach, Poirot pieces together the clues, revealing a shocking truth that connects the suspects in unexpected ways. In a dramatic conclusion, he identifies the true murderer, whose desperation and jealousy ultimately led to a tragic outcome. This story highlights Poirot's keen insights into human nature and the often competitive world of professional accolades, showcasing how ambition can lead individuals down a dark path. As always, Poirot's exceptional deductive reasoning shines through, bringing clarity to a case shrouded in mystery and deceit. Plot summary: The Case of the Disappearing Sign. In The Case of the Disappearing Sign, Hercule Poirot is enlisted to solve a puzzling incident involving a wealthy businessman named Mr. Rawlinson. During a grand opening for his new hotel, a large and prominent sign advertising the establishment mysteriously disappears, causing chaos and embarrassment. As the hotel is set to welcome high-profile guests, Mr. Rawlinson fears that this blunder could ruin his reputation and affect the hotel's success. Poirot, intrigued by the bizarre nature of the case, agrees to help Mr. Rawlinson. Upon arrival at the hotel, he begins to interview the staff, guests, and various individuals present during the event. Each person presents a different perspective on the events leading up to the sign's disappearance, revealing underlying tensions and rivalries. As Poirot digs deeper, he uncovers a series of peculiar happenings that seem linked to the disappearance of the sign. He learns that several individuals had motives for wanting to disrupt the grand opening, including a jealous competitor, disgruntled employees, and even a mysterious figure seen lurking around the premises. Through keen observation and clever questioning, Poirot pieces together the timeline of events, examining the potential whereabouts of the sign and the people involved. His meticulous approach uncovers hidden connections and reveals that the disappearance is more than just a prank. It is tied to deeper motivations and conflicts. In a thrilling resolution, Poirot reveals the true circumstances surrounding the sign's disappearance, exposing the culprit and their motives. The case not only showcases Poirot's brilliance in unravelling a seemingly trivial mystery, but also highlights themes of ambition, rivalry, and the lengths individuals will go to protect their interests. This story reinforces Poirot's reputation as a master detective who can turn the simplest cases into complex narratives filled with intrigue, reminding us that even minor incidents can reveal much about human nature and motivations. Plot summary: The Adventure of the Clapham Cook. In The Adventure of the Clapham Cook, Hercule Poirot is approached by the distraught Mrs. Annie, who seeks his assistance in locating her missing cook, who has vanished without a trace. Mrs. Annie, a woman of considerable means, is not only concerned about the loss of her cook, but also about the implications it may have on her household and reputation. Poirot, intrigued by the seemingly mundane case, agrees to take it on. He quickly learns that the cook, named Mrs. Hattie, had recently displayed signs of discontent and restlessness. Through interviews with Mrs. Annie and other staff members, Poirot uncovers hints of tension within the household, as well as glimpses of Hattie's personal life outside of work. As Poirot delves deeper into the investigation, he discovers that Mrs. Hattie had connections to a group of individuals living in Clapham, leading him to suspect that her disappearance might be tied to her past. Clues start to emerge about her potential reasons for leaving, which could involve love, ambition, or even a hidden secret. Using his characteristic method of observation and deduction, Poirot meticulously assembles the pieces of the puzzle. He learns that Mrs. Hattie had a desire for a more exciting life, leading to a deeper exploration of her character and the motivations behind her actions. In a captivating conclusion, Poirot successfully tracks down Mrs. Hattie and uncovers the truth about her departure. He reveals that the cook had not vanished out of malice, but rather had pursued a new opportunity that she believed would lead to greater fulfillment. This light-hearted yet insightful story highlights Poirot's ability to find depth in even the simplest of cases, reminding us that everyone has their own struggles and dreams. Through his investigation, Poirot not only solves the mystery, but also sheds light on the human desire for change and the complexities of life beneath the surface of domestic routines. Plot summary: The Cornish Mystery. In The Cornish Mystery, Hercule Poirot is invited to the picturesque setting of Cornwall, where he is asked to investigate a puzzling case involving the disappearance of a valuable painting from a local estate owned by the wealthy and eccentric Sir Gerald. The painting, a masterpiece by a renowned artist, has gone missing under mysterious circumstances, and the local authorities are baffled by the case. Upon his arrival, Poirot learns that the estate is filled with colourful characters, including Sir Gerald's family, close friends and staff, each of whom has their own unique personality and potential motives. As Poirot interviews them, he uncovers a web of secrets, rivalries, and hidden resentments that complicate the investigation. The estate itself, with its sprawling grounds and labyrinthine corridors, becomes a character in its own right, adding an air of intrigue to the mystery. As Poirot delves deeper into the case, he discovers that the painting's disappearance may be linked to a series of events from the past, including a family feud and long-buried grievances. The detective meticulously examines the evidence, piecing together clues that point to possible suspects among those who had access to the painting. With his usual methodical approach, Poirot uncovers a shocking truth about the painting's fate, revealing a clever scheme that ties together the various players involved in the case. In a dramatic conclusion, Poirot exposes the true culprit and their motives, shedding light on the lengths to which people will go for greed and revenge. This story not only showcases Poirot's exceptional detective skills, but also paints a vivid picture of human relationships and the impact of history on the present. It reinforces the idea that even in idyllic settings, the complexities of human nature can lead to unexpected and dramatic outcomes, reminding us that every mystery, no matter how small, has the potential to reveal profound truths about life. Plot summary: the theft of the Royal Ruby. In The Theft of the Royal Ruby, Hercule Poirot is drawn into a glamorous world of royalty and intrigue when he is invited to a charity gala at a lavish estate owned by the Duke of Lancaster. The highlight of the evening is the display of a priceless royal ruby, which has been loaned for the occasion. However, the festivities take a dramatic turn when the ruby mysteriously disappears just moments before the event is set to commence. As chaos ensues, Poirot is quickly called upon to investigate the theft. The guest list includes a diverse array of attendees, from high society figures to notorious jewel thieves, each with their own secrets and motives. Poirot's keen eye for detail allows him to navigate the opulent setting and the complex relationships among the guests, each of whom could potentially be involved in the heist. Through a series of interviews and astute observations, Poirot uncovers layers of deception surrounding the ruby's disappearance. He learns that several individuals had a vested interest in the jewel, whether for personal gain, revenge, or to settle old scores. The investigation reveals a mix of jealousy, greed, and intrigue, with everyone seemingly hiding something. As Poirot meticulously pieces together the timeline of events, he focuses on the interactions leading up to the theft. His methodical approach allows him to identify inconsistencies in alibis and uncover hidden connections between the suspects. In a thrilling climax, Poirot reveals the identity of the thief, unraveling a clever scheme that involved both cunning and misdirection. In the end, Poirot not only recovers the royal ruby, but also exposes the complex web of motivations that led to its theft. This case highlights Poirot's exceptional deductive skills and reinforces themes of ambition and betrayal in the pursuit of wealth and status. Through this investigation, Poirot once again demonstrates that the most glamorous settings can harbour the darkest secrets, and that justice will always prevail in the hands of a true detective. Plot summary: The Adventure of the Egyptian Tomb. In The Adventure of the Egyptian Tomb, Hercule Poirot finds himself in the midst of an archaeological expedition when he is invited to investigate a series of mysterious events surrounding the excavation of a newly discovered tomb in Egypt. The tomb, believed to belong to a powerful ancient pharaoh, has generated excitement and intrigue, but it also brings with it an unsettling atmosphere, as several members of the expedition team have experienced inexplicable accidents and untimely deaths. The story unfolds at a remote archaeological site where Poirot meets a diverse cast of characters, including the enthusiastic archaeologist, Dr. Eric, his ambitious assistant, and a group of wealthy patrons funding the expedition. Tensions rise as rumours of a curse associated with the tomb circulate among the team, leading to fear and paranoia. As Poirot begins his investigation, he encounters both personal and professional rivalries among the team members, each with their own motivations for wanting the expedition to succeed or fail. Through interviews and keen observation, Poirot uncovers hidden agendas and strained relationships, revealing the complex dynamics within the group. Amidst the backdrop of the tomb's grandeur and the allure of ancient treasures, Poirot employs his signature method of deduction to piece together the clues surrounding the accidents. He soon discovers that the accidents are not merely coincidental, but are linked to a darker conspiracy aimed at sabotaging the excavation. In a thrilling conclusion, Poirot reveals the truth behind the so-called curse and the identity of the saboteur, exposing the lengths individuals will go to in pursuit of fame and fortune. The resolution not only restores peace to the expedition, but also sheds light on the human desire to uncover the mysteries of the past, reminding us that the pursuit of knowledge can sometimes lead to unexpected dangers. This story exemplifies Poirot's ability to navigate the interplay between history and human behaviour, illustrating how the shadows of the past can haunt the present. As always, his brilliance shines through, turning an archaeological adventure into a compelling exploration of human nature and ambition. Plot summary: The Case of the Perfect Maid. In The Case of the Perfect Maid, Hercule Poirot is approached by a young woman named Miss Violet Marsh, who seeks his help regarding her recently hired maid, a seemingly perfect employee named Miss Smith. Although Miss Smith is efficient and skilled, Miss Marsh has grown increasingly suspicious of her, especially after a valuable piece of jewellery goes missing from her home shortly after the maid's arrival. Intrigued by the mystery, Poirot agrees to investigate. As he begins his inquiries, he learns that Miss Smith has an impeccable reputation and comes highly recommended, but there are whispers about her past that raise red flags for Miss Marsh. Poirot's curiosity is piqued, and he delves into the maid's background, uncovering a series of inconsistencies that suggest she may not be who she claims to be. Poirot interviews the household staff and neighbours, gathering clues that hint at Miss Smith's hidden life. He discovers that she has a talent for manipulating those around her, creating a facade of perfection while concealing her true motives. As the investigation progresses, Poirot finds himself drawn into a complex web of deception and intrigue that reveals deeper issues within the Marsh household. Utilising his keen observational skills and psychological insights, Poirot pieces together the puzzle, ultimately identifying the circumstances that led to the theft of the jewellery. In a thrilling conclusion, he reveals the truth about Miss Smith's past and her connection to the missing item, demonstrating that even the most seemingly perfect individuals can harbour secrets. This case emphasises Poirot's extraordinary ability to dissect human behaviour and motivations, revealing the complexities of trust and deception. In the end, Poirot not only solves the mystery, but also imparts valuable lessons about perception and the hidden depths of character, reinforcing his role as a master detective who navigates the intricacies of human nature with remarkable skill. Concluding remarks: Hercule Poirot's journey through the world of short stories reveals the depth and complexity of human nature, showcasing how even the simplest cases can unfold into intricate narratives filled with intrigue, ambition, and deception. From the opulent settings of royal galas to the quiet corners of domestic life, each story serves as a testament to Poirot's unmatched deductive skills and his unique ability to understand the motivations behind human actions. As we follow Poirot's adventures, we see a recurring theme. The pursuit of truth often reveals not only the guilty, but also the nuances of character and the unforeseen consequences of choices. His meticulous approach transforms mundane mysteries into captivating explorations of morality and ethics, reminding us that beneath the surface of every situation lies a story waiting to be uncovered. Through his adventures, Poirot stands as a symbol of intellect and insight, proving that logic and empathy can unravel even the most perplexing of puzzles. His legacy endures, inspiring readers and viewers alike to appreciate the art of deduction and the richness of storytelling. As we conclude this journey through the short stories featuring Hercule Poirot, we celebrate not only the mysteries he solved, but also the invaluable lessons he imparted about the human condition. In every case, Poirot invites us to look deeper, to question appearances, and to embrace the complexities that make each of us unique. Thank you for joining us on this fascinating exploration of Hercule Poirot's remarkable journey.